Hi everyone and welcome back to the Lincoln Journal-Star Prep Extra Show. Ron Powell, Alec, McChesney, here to talk some boys basketball. We've got a busy week ahead, but we're starting tonight with a showdown in town, Lincoln North Star versus Lincoln East.
Yeah, this is the third time they've tried to play this game, so it looks like third time's going to be the charm. You know, just a great individual matchup. Wes Dreamer against Donovan Williams, two of the top players in Class A, of course. Donovan Williams is headed to Nebraska, and you know Wes Dreamer is going to a really good Division II program in Northwest Missouri. I don't believe they've lost this year yet, Northwest Missouri.
Absolutely.
So you know, going to be a good matchup.
And back-to-back high-profile matchups for North Star and Williams, as on Saturday you were at Creighton Prep where they battled in overtime.
Right, and if they could bring that same kind of intensity and focus, they could give East all they want tonight.
And it doesn't stop there in terms of big games this week in the city. Lincoln Pius has a big matchup this Saturday, right?
Yeah. Now Creighton Prep's coming back this Saturday to play Pius. And of course, last March, you missed it, but it was triple overtime when these teams met in the first round of the state tournament. And Prep ended up winning the state championship, and Pius has had this game circled on the calendar for a long time.
Wow. Yeah, that'll be a good one. What are you looking at in between in Class A? Obviously, tournaments last week, big games last week, but in Class A, what are you looking maybe at this week, aside from those two games?
Well, you know what's interesting is we've got Lincoln Southwest going up to #1 Bellevue West on Thursday night. Southwest kind of resurrected their season a little bit this last weekend, beating Omaha Bryant, so it looks like maybe they're starting to come into form here down the stretch.
And Bellevue West, is that they're the only team in Class A with just one loss right now?
It looks like it, yes.
At the top of the ratings, so
right.
Kind of the one that everyone's going for right now. Anywhere else that you're looking, or you kind of want to jump down to Class B or tournaments?
Well, you know, Class B, we had the two big conference tournaments last week. Central Conference Tournament, Aurora ends up winning that one, and of course, we had a great overtime instant classic in the semifinals between Aurora and Seward, and Baylor Sharman ended it in dramatic fashion with a three-pointer. I think he finished with 36 points in that game. South Dakota State's getting a really good player.
And that was that matchup that you talked about last show between Nate Litteris and him, and it lived up to all the hype in terms of individual players with those two.
It did.
And that's always good to see when you kind of look at it, and then Baylor Sharman steps up, puts up 36 and 12, I think, and hits the buzzer beater in overtime.
Right, and then Eastern Midlands Conference, Bennington ended up winning that title over Norris, who was at 6 and 10, has moved into the rankings. So you know they're 5 and 2 in their last 7 games. They beat New York, who was the finalist in the Central Conference tournament. And they beat a ratings contender, Blair, in the first round of the EMC.
So then that was last week. This week we have a couple other conference tournaments with some area schools. What are you looking at in terms of that?
Southern Nebraska Conference is the one in C1, C2. Milford is a C1 contender. They're in that thing. They beat Sutton last week. So, and Sutton's number 3 in C2. Centennial is number 2 in C2. They're both in the Southern Nebraska Conference as well. So, you're looking at some good semifinal and final games.
Opportunities there. And how important are these games in terms of your ratings, where you're looking at if someone's able to go on a run like a Norris or something like that, where their records might not mean much if they're playing great basketball right now?
Right, exactly. Those teams are going to be rewarded, no question.
Absolutely. Tough conference tournaments. So what else are you looking at in terms of this next week? Kind of individual players or big games?
Well, East Central Nebraska Conference, ECNC, their tournament is this weekend. Their semis and finals are over at SEC Lincoln. So you've got Auburn, who's ranked in C1. You got Freeman in that, UTAN, that are C2 ranked teams. So you got some quality basketball there. You got the Pioneer Conference also. Johnson Brock and Fall City Sacred Heart, you know, are the two teams in that one, and Tri-County, who's ranked highly in C2. You know, those are the teams to kind of watch in that one. And of course, Sacred Heart and Johnson Brock didn't get their game played Thursday, but you know, that's probably going to be okay. They'll probably meet this week. They're in the same sub-district. They could play at state. So, you know what? If they don't get the regular season game made up, that's probably okay.
Playing 3 times in a season is probably enough.
Well, they've already played once.
Okay, so it could even be more than that. So, okay, we've got a little over a month left. March 9th, I believe, is the state championship weekend. So what are you looking at right now? Final thoughts going in? Just something to keep an eye on, or what are you looking at going forward?
It's going to be fun to watch Pius and Creighton Prep on Saturday, because Pius is Class B this year. We will not see them play Omaha Central or Bellevue West. Right now, the top 2 teams in Class A. Right. So this is going to be kind of that last bridge to see how the top teams in B compare to the top teams in Class A.
And real quick, you were at Pius game last night against Omaha Scott, and that game, another one that's living up to the hype, went into overtime, the whole thing.
Right. Well, and you know, the first 3 quarters kind of reinforced what we all thought about Pius, that maybe they were a step or 2 ahead of the rest of the field in Class B. But then the 4th quarter and overtime showed that there aren't any guarantees for them.
Absolutely.
You know, Tyson Gordon, you know, those kinds of athletes are there in Class B.
Right.
You know, you got the Baylor Sharman at Aurora. You've got Brady Danielson at York, and York has, you know, they have a lot of pieces back from that state championship team from last year.
Absolutely. Seems like, I know this is my first season here, but it seems like there's a lot of parity and a lot of different teams throughout. Like you said, Norris is in there at 6 and 10 at the number 10 spot in those ratings that can really beat anyone on any given night.
Right. There's a lot of parity in Class A.
Yeah, absolutely.
There, you know, about anything can happen. If you're at home, you've got a chance to beat just about anybody. Look at Bellevue West in December. I mean, that's where their one loss came. It was at Southeast.
Right, right. And was that the 21-point comeback?
It was a 21-point comeback by the Knights. Yeah. So, you know, there's a lot of teams in Class A that have enough firepower that they're never out of it against, regardless who they play.
Absolutely. Well, get out there, watch some high school basketball this week. We'll keep you updated. JournalStar.com, Prep Extra, Ron Powell on Twitter. We'll give you all the news that you need. Ron Powell, Alec McChesney, have a great day.